All right, welcome back to DangIT Prodcast, a show where we talk about video games, anime, manga. My name is Justin,
Mark,
and welcome back, everybody. Mark, how you been? I feel like it's been a while.
yeah, sorry, I've had some stuff going on, but I'm doing all right. How you doing?
I'm doing well over here. It was a pretty busy day today. We want to give shout outs to people in the chat. I see Ibrahim. How's it going, Ibrahim? Yeah, he's talking about what's going on with Phil. Yeah, sorry, Phil and I can't make it today because they already had like a whole thing planned out. They got a horror movie night, which if I wasn't gonna jump into that, I would have otherwise stopped the pod. But I was like, nah, let's lock in for a bit. Let's do it for real this time because we got a couple things going on this past week. Considering it's just me and Mark, I think it's just totally fair for us to kind of open up with catching up on things as far as like things that we've been watching, things we've been reading. For me, it's primarily anime, but Mark, I know that you do keep up with manga as well. Is there anything that you've been keeping up with this past week?
Yes.
Yes.
I've been reading. God, I read a lot, so I would have to think.
Whoa.
I have noticed as time has gone on, bro. I've just picked up so much manga.
Just on a whim.
It's just like I will go on sites and just read and read and read and read and read.
Crazy.
I'm just like, what's new? Does this look nice and interesting? This looks nice and interesting. Read, 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 read. I do know that I did briefly read chapters 1 through 27 of Don to Don. Now, before I watched the anime, and that's been really good. And I've also been reading, of course, been keeping up with all the current series that are in Jump.
Mm-hmm.
What else? In terms of watching this season, currently for this season, I'm watching the part 3 of Thousand Year Blood War. I'm watching Dragon Ball Daima, of course, and I'm watching Don to Don. I also plan to watch. I also need to watch the new season of Shangri-La Frontier.
Oh, good. Good you mentioned that. I was going to go through my listing here as well.
I will say, FZMZ didn't do the opening for this season. Lisa did a good job. However, I will say it doesn't hit as hard as the 2 by FZMZ.
I understand. I 100% understand what you mean by that.
It's just the first 2 opening. The first opening was the best banger in my opinion. The second
fire, bro.
the second one was good. It was good.
Yeah, it was solid.
As good.
Yeah, it was the fact that it was still the same group, so it's like, oh, we got something going on here, and they had like someone jump in with them. But unfortunately,
right.
Yeah, they could keep with the trend.
Lisa, I've heard of Lisa. I do know that she is a very famous musician in Japan. But however, I do think the song is good. It just, I think FCMZ just does it better.
I get you.
And I have told Justin this before we started. I was like, the theme for Dawn to Dawn is stuck in my head.
So did you just get started with it?
I've been watching it, but I have been seeing a lot of people starting to react to it online. So you hear a lot of the.
Oh yeah, I see. Now see, like I know that the opening had actually leaked online, so unfortunately, I did hear quite a bit of it like prior to it actually officially releasing. And you have to also be careful too because there's like leaked episodes as well. So yeah, watch out for that. But
right, and I do know that of course it's coming from Creepy Nuts, who are the same people who made Mashal Season 2's opening, which went super viral.
Super viral. Like I heard that track and I knew that potential.
Bring bong bong bring bong bong bring bong 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 bring bong bong bring bong bong bring bong bong bong, and you can hear that immediately with them when you hear. I was like, yep, I hear it. This is them.
I got it like based off of the rapping. I was like, oh yeah, this feels like it.
That and the beat that's behind it, it's got that Creepy Nuts, like, like kind of spooky, kind of like just different sound.
I gotcha. Oh, you know what? It's also been really funny because people post memes of like Pikmin the recording booth trying to get the audio bits there. I'm like, damn. Out of the water into the booth is crazy.
Bruh. And of course, the Bleach Thousand Year Blood War Part 3.
Oh, yeah, that's still going. Okay.
Oh, it's so good.
Hmm.
And I've so far, yes, I've very much enjoyed the first 2 episodes of Dragon Ball Daima.
Gotcha. First 2 episodes, you said? Yeah, it was two
Yeah,
episodes.
we finally got to see what's underneath of Popo's turban.
Yeah, you're right. I was like, Popo does look different. I was like, oh, okay.
He got horns.
He actually has horns. Now, granted, they seem to be maybe the like he grows like maybe the horns are just stagnant in growth, so he just kind of like grows in and just looks a lot shorter.
Or, the more terrifying thing to think about, as he grows, they just curve and turn into the turban.
What the hell? I was like, wait.
That's like a, oh.
I'm like, what the hell is that? That's crazy.
That'd be wild.
That's crazy character design.
Right. But I do think it's very interesting a lot of the stuff they showed in the first 2 episodes, especially with the way that the way they go to and from the demon realm
Hmm.
with the giant fish that's kind of like a gate.
Yeah.
I was like, that's very interesting, actually.
Yeah, I was actually really curious about like how they phrase the limitations of it. Because it's not like by the way that they phrase it, it's not really like how many people you can fit into one capsule. It's like the actual literal number of people you can actually have sit in there. Like it goes to like like a legitimate process with the fish. Fish doesn't really see a lot, but if he sees like 4 people in there, he's like, wait.
Right. And as we can see, the demon realm isn't a universe so much as it is a separate dimension, like a separate reality.
I guess so, yeah.
Because it's not it's because I guess they say, because remember when they went in the demon realm, it said like, okay, what do you want to leave? Okay, what universe?
Yeah, oh yeah, that's right, they did.
And so I'm just like, so to me that just says, okay, so this is outside of the universes.
Yeah. But I guess interesting because well, obviously this is made after Super, so the fact that they're not they'll maybe address the demon realm later on.
Well, we do know that timeline wise, this is before Super, I think.
Yep. It's pretty much because Oops still
It's
happens,
like,
right?
yeah. So this is before Super. This is it's like Trunks is turning 9.
Mm-hmm. And then immediately reverts back.
It's true, he's a baby now. I do like how he and Goten were talking telepathically. I was like,
yeah, it do be like that.
And it's a lot of people. Some people were saying, like, they were like, "How are you going to retcon Piccolo like that? Saying the Namekians are demons?" I was like, "Well, to be fair, if you read the manga, it's not that surprising." Because they did mention that Namekians came from a different dimension.
Yeah.
But I think I think that you can have both. I think you can say the Namekians can be both aliens and demons at the same time.
Why not both? ¿Por qué no las dos?
Well, because you could think about it. I mean, think about it. It's like they're in space on another planet. They've settled there. And they happen to be from the demon realm.
Yeah, it's always about like them like migrating out to like a different like universe entirely.
Yeah, they're like nomads.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, yeah, you could just count them as just Namekians, aliens, whatever you want to count them as. However, Neva, on the other hand, that man is OD.
He's like,
me and my friends were watching that. We were like, what the fuck did this man just do?
I still like that.
Fucking just, he's thousands of years old, so he just like with his hand just says, come Dragon Balls.
He willed that. And that's kind of overpowered. Thankfully, he can only do it like once.
Right. So what was really wild was he's able to turn them from stone to active. I was like, whoa.
You know, for the plot convenience, of course.
Yes, but I also think that considering he as old as he is, and I would assume if he made Dragon Balls, he must be a part of the Dragon Clan.
Hmm.
Because we do know that in Namekian, for the Namekians, there's like the Warrior Clan and then there's the Dragon Clan.
Oh, that's right.
The Dragon Clan are the ones who can make Dragon Balls,
Mm-hmm.
whereas the Warriors are just like they are more the fighters. And so now we also see that so this is how we're gonna get into a conflict. They kidnapped Dende.
Yeah. Oh, but he's just baby.
I know he is just baby right now.
And Pope's like, no, no, no. And the other guy's like, huh. I'm like,
Pope was like,
relax, relax, bro.
I know. And then we get to see, since we're like, that's why Goku's going to use the power pole, is because, well, guess what? Now that he's shrunk down, his kind of his like measuring of his body's like kicks and stuff like that is like not the same.
Yeah. But it's just like second nature with them without like the power pole. So really cool to just
And
kind of like make that work.
people trying to power scale the tree because it gave Piccolo a bloody nose.
I mean, you can't raise any old like tree up in that altitude.
That I am
think,
very curious, especially because like I'm very curious about Glorio, the new character that was introduced.
mm,
And I know that he's already been confirmed as a part of the first, not the second DLC pack, which will be on for Daima
okay.
in Sparking Zero.
Yeah.
They revealed like obviously the first one to be about superhero. The only characters they've revealed so far from that are Gamma 1 and 2 for DLC pack 2
Yeah,
is
I do
going to be about
remember that.
Daima, and they showed off Glorio and
Baby Vegeta.
Mini.
Mini
They always
Vegeta.
just called Mini.
Mini Vegeta.
Mini Vegeta. And so I'm a this is the guess from my thinking, and that is we're gonna see. If I was to guess who else they're gonna add as characters, realistically speaking, from Daima so far, we already know that Glorio is an obvious one. I think it'd be hilarious if they added the new Demon King. I think that'd be very funny.
What was the name? Goma?
Especially because you don't. Yeah, Goma.
I think it could work.
Yeah, especially if we don't know if he has another form or not.
Oh yeah.
That I think we'll probably get, if they involve them, we'll get to see the Guardians of the Demon Realm Dragon Balls.
That'd be kind of cool. They look kind of sick.
They look very like Kamen Rider to me, like the bug armor. And I know that Toriyama made the Ginyu Force because his kids loved the Super Sentai stuff.
Yeah.
And so I'm just and on top of that, it's just like seeing all this, like this is the last thing Toriyama gave us. So I'm just very curious to see like what he made. And he said he put way more into this than he usually does. So I'm very, very curious to see like what he had to do. Like as soon as I saw Goma, I was like, oh yeah, this is Toriyama. He loves doing stuff like this.
I mean,
he loves like putting in this little shit.
Well, he does like doing that. He does like, well, in this case for the Dragon Ball universe, there is like a common thing of just like kind of inserting placements here and there.
Right. It's like, I mean, look at the king of everything. It's Zeno.
Yeah.
And then look at the new king of the demon realm, Goma, this little shit.
This little guy.
And I do like how they keep dropping in little bits of lore, like I think they mentioned like the previous Demon King from before Deborah.
Yeah, I actually did like that.
On top of that, like we heard from Glorio that he is from, I think he was sent by the king of the third demon world. And I was like, so there's multiple. I was like, the world just keeps getting bigger and bigger.
They had a lot to work with, but they did always keep the scope like really small and really focus on like the Z fighters. But now it's like they have this entire world, they acknowledge it, and it's just kind of like more. We know like we can always continue following like Goku and a lot of his like limit breaking like journeys, but it's also another thing to kind of like highlight all the weird stuff that are around the corner of like the Dragon Ball universe.
And because I was telling my friends, I was like, because I know Toriyama said this was going to explore a lot of the mysteries in the Dragon Ball world, and I know that one of the mysteries that we've always known is we know the demon realm exists, but we'd never explored it.
Hmm.
And so I had a feeling that that probably was what was going to happen. Like, we're probably going to explore the demon realm, which we are. And my God, it looks pretty much like you'd expect. Very red.
I think we're gonna see a little bits of like things here and there. I mean, granted, we're seeing red right now, but I think the places that we're gonna see also will differentiate as well. So it won't just be one color palette.
Also, I do find it interesting because, like, if we look at, say, like Glorio, and we look at the Supreme Kai's brother Degasu, if we look at Degasu's sister, his
Oh
sister
yeah, yeah.
reminds me of Toa from Xenoverse,
I'm not
like
familiar.
the demon scientist lady.
Well, yeah, yeah, her, but like, don't know the.
I'm saying, like, in Xenoverse how there's that like white haired lady who's always got that big muscular guy with her.
I think
They both have blue skin and white hair.
blue skin, white hair. I mean, that sounds like a Gary Toriyama design.
Yeah,
But like
type in a search
otherwise,
real quick.
yeah, Xenoverse I'm not at all like familiar with.
Type in a search real quick. Just Toa, Towa, and Mira, Mira. You'll probably recognize them.
Hold on. Not in the middle of the podcast. Toa? How do you spell Toa? I'll just type that one first.
Towa.
Towa. Fuck no, dude. You got the wrong person. I'm
Oh,
like,
you don't recognize her at all?
I don't know this person. I don't even know who you are.
I was like, oh, she kind of looks like Degetsu's sister, the scientist that we'd seen.
Mm.
So I was like, oh, are we getting another Toriyama take on canonizing a certain thing? Ooh.
We need more cannons. That's all it is.
And it doesn't help that Glorio looks like Mira.
Mm.
Of course, a younger version of Mira.
Oh, where was I? Right here.
And but yeah, like I've really been enjoying it. Like, I've been enjoying the lore. I've been enjoying the music.
Mm.
Like, I think the opening is absolutely fire.
Mm-hmm. Did you see the ending though?
Like, yeah, the ending's good.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, I think it's supposed to be 24 episodes long.
Yeah, it's not like a very long type of like saga, if you will.
But it's also not short. Like if it was short,
True
it'd be
that.
like
True
12 or
that.
11. Like, this is actually a good size.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it doesn't like overstay its welcome. Like as far as like being kind of in between like Z and Super. It just fits
Right.
just right.
So we can say, for the timeline of Z, it goes to the Boo Saga. Then after the Boo Saga, briefly after that is Daima. And then after Daima is Super. And then after Super is the actual, like, the 23rd World Martial Arts Tournament with
Yeah.
Oob. And then
Something like
over.
that. No, you forgot. No, I was gonna say like, what about GT? No. That's just like that's.
Toriyama has said that he thinks it's a nice side story, or a nice, like, alternate ending.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was his official thing that he said. He said it could be a nice alternate ending. So I take that as a stamp of his approval, saying, like, hey, if you like it, you like it.
If you like it, you like it. Otherwise, yeah, just do what you will.
I was like, that's to me, because he didn't outright just say, "Oh no, that's not canon." He just said, "I think it's a nice alternate ending."
Mm-hmm. I think for me, since we're still on like Daima here, I think the opening's great. I think opening and ending seem to like really weave together pretty well, considering like kind of like the tone of it. It's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say, well, I think what's always interesting about that opening, ever since I heard it in the preview, was that it feels like new, but also like very like retro-esque as far as like, and I think
Kind of
the
reminds
vocals,
you of OG Dragon Ball.
yeah, I think it's the vocals that really lend it well. And then the ending, well, I wouldn't say that like reminds me much about like any other like Dragon Ball ending or anything like that, but it definitely hits on a different level because of like where it just kind of ends off on that screen. It's like, damn, dude, it really is just like the last love letter right there. But
I mean, like I know that I know Chibi Reviews said like the opening for Daima actually had him kind of emotional.
mm, I
I
think it
think I
should
can
evoke
understand
that
that too.
feeling.
It should because I mean this was like they said it almost feels kind of just feel like that last hurrah for Toriyama.
Mm-hmm.
And like I do think some people were right when they said it's a good thing that at the very least since Toriyama passed away, at least he got to go back to his roots before he passed away, like something that's very close to like the
Yeah, to what he
original
usually
like
does,
Dragon Ball.
and that too.
It's like close to the original Dragon Ball feeling.
Mm-hmm. Because there's no mistaking like what Dragon Ball has become now, and like I think that's something that you can kind of have both. You can actually have like power scaling, but you can also have like some very interesting lore about the Dragon Ball universe, and I think that's where they're trying to hit at. And by the end, it's like Super that we know of right now, and then Diamond's a little bit more about just exploring like new worlds. And I think that's like,
Like,
yeah, I think it
and
does
like
it
we've
better.
seen that in the we've also seen that recently in the manga with the Moro arc and the Granola arc that they were really starting to explore the world more. Like we're getting a lot more details, we're getting a lot more stuff going on. It was
Hmm.
like, man, they're really expanding right now.
Okay. And then as far as like my thoughts about Daima so far, I like how they're just building it up. I like the lore. It's just, it's not like engaging quite yet. I think by episode 3 it will. Not to say
That's right. I mean,
yeah, not to say
it's
like the
like
3 episode
episode
rule applies
one
here,
was
but
kind of more of a recap, so I can understand why.
now
Speaking of which, can we
yeah.
just mention how nice the animation in those Z scenes were? Holy shit!
Mm.
Like a lot of people were like, I know my friend was just saying like, bro, look at the why are we not getting a Z remake? Look at this animation.
Mm. And to give it credit, I'll say that second episode is really nice as far as just from Goku's perspective, like revisiting like different spots and like friends that we have not seen in a while, and just kind of giving a different vibe from that than just simply saying like, "Oh, hey, how's it going? Good to see you. All right, see ya.
All right, peace.
Gotta go fight something big now."
But hi, bye.
Yeah, no. Second episode kind of like sets like a mood for our fighters now. But I think episode 3 will
And
start to be a
then
little bit more like let's explore a little bit more and see what the dynamic is going to be when we see all the new cast of characters. We still got one more, as far as I can see, one more character before we got like the whole crew.
right. Well, I think it's at least one or two because I know that there's like there's the chubby guy, and there's the girl.
Hmm.
The chubby guy who's got the goofy face.
I might have to double check on that. Yeah.
He's got like the two black dots for eyes in the mouth.
Hmm. Sorry, I was looking at this Supreme guy, and it's like it's funny that he has like developed such a prominent role in both like here and Super. But when I think of Super, I immediately go with "You be quiet." It's just like this dude's just straight dead ass quiet.
Everyone just shits themselves.
Or
I
when
will
Goku
always
gives
remember
him
the
the
scene in
nickname and
Super.
like Super guy fades. Oh.
Bro, I will always remember the scene in Super when they're like when fucking Zeno appears on screen and Beerus just turns around in pure fear, walks over and bows through a table.
Mm-hmm.
That shit cracks me up to this day.
Now, like my favorite part was definitely just like the oldest joke in the book, some bit. If I press this button, I go to like Zeno. If I bring it, no, like press this button over here, I bring him to me. And Beerus was really like, "Don't do it. I swear, I've let you live long enough."
He's like, I will erase you right here.
And Goku's like, "Ah, nah, I gotcha." Beep.
So oh, 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 oh.
And Beerus like,
Goku got
"Damn
serious
it!"
there for a second. Goku had that serious look on his face for a second. I was like, oh shit.
But yeah, let me just double check with everybody here in chat here. But yeah, let me just quickly go over some other like shows here that I've been watching too. I've been also been watching Dan. I've been thankfully been able to just kind of keep it up episode by episode. And I'm just kind of liking the direction where it's going. it's weird because like it doesn't feel like you're. I mean, it is like shonen like coded, and it's not like
It
episode per
definitely does
episode.
things differently.
Yeah, where it's like from the start to like where we're at right now, it's always been chaining over towards events. Like nothing gets reset as far as like it's a new day, like new uniforms, new clothes, and everything. It's like no, we're still following this very same like situation, and it's something that does not go away after a good bit. And I feel like that's good for keeping us like involved in what's going on and seeing the characters develop like naturally. This relationship between like our two main like pro tags are like keeping really strong, and to kind of like establish like the, I guess lack of better words, the energy levels of like each and every like bad guy that they come across is always keeps like escalating.
Give us your banana organ.
Yeah, it's also the weird stuff for sure.
I think it's a part of the charm though for Don to Don.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, we know it's odd, but it's also does things in an interesting manner.
I think it helps serve to not be like super serious, even though like circumstances and the stakes are pretty serious.
Oh, without a doubt.
But they're also pretty lighthearted about it. But we'll see by like this next episode, because I think that might be the way they're gonna try to settle the score and see like how things will go. Because obviously, if they don't resolve this, then it's like, what are we doing for the rest of like the series? And of course, I'm not really reading the manga per se, so I don't really know.
She took his penis.
Let me see what other shows I've been watching as well. Oh, Shangri-La Frontier as well. Yeah, I've been. Well, obviously, only one episode's been out, but you were saying that, yeah, obviously it's a new like opening with a new artist, and that's Lisa. And I want to echo what you said. It's pretty much that. Like, I think the last two openings are like really strong, and they really set that tone perfectly for the series. And to kind of lend it off to another person does feel just the slightest bit off-putting. But I do want to give Lisa credit, because essentially she's the one who spearheaded like that tone for isekais with Sword Art Online's opening. She's the one who did that, so the fact that she's the one doing this one, it's like, yeah, okay. If it had to be anybody, it would be her. So fair enough. And that first episode of Shangri-La is like really good too. So they're not holding back on the budget there.
I still need to watch it, but I'm glad to hear it's doing good.
Mm-hmm. I was speaking of like Sword Art Online, actually, is the alternative that they got, Gun Gale Online, which was surprisingly good for that like one season, and now they're opening up with the second season. Yeah, the spinoff. I forget where it lies in the timeline, but it's kind of slow so far. So that's all I can really say. Episode 1, 2, one's just like purely a recap and like getting things like settled in, and second episode's like really kind of laid back. So we'll see how things like play going forward.
Is it slow in a bad way? Slow in a good way?
I personally say slow in a bad way, but I think other people can like appreciate it still, because it's like you already know who the characters are. It's just about them interacting just a little bit more and understanding like the circumstances now with the new like battlefield and everything like that. Because essentially the way I guess to kind of like summarize it, it's pretty much them in a battle royale setting, completely battle royale, where you have like the net sphere always like getting smaller and smaller, and you have to kind of like figure out whether you want to rush in or do you want to just kind of stay your place somewhere. And that's kind of what they have to establish. Is that okay, we're gonna take it really easy, especially since there's only 4 of us. So we'll just camp out in this little car right here, and then we'll just take out enemies, you know, strategically and not get super offensive about it. But they keep it
doing it the smart way.
Yeah, doing it the smart way. And the way I described it is a little bit more like action oriented. They do it in a much slower pace. But well, that's arguable, but you'd have to see it for yourself. And I guess the last thing I had to like mention is just ReZero. So it's another episode. So
that's right, ReZero season 3. I know you like ReZero a lot.
I do, yeah. And I think, and now at this point, it's like, okay, well, I'm super invested in the characters and where they're going to be going, and seeing how Super will always come back up on top. It's interesting because obviously episode 1 is just like an hour and a half, and it's like, sheesh, dude. crazy amounts. And I appreciate that they do like
Is
lay
it
that
an
all
hour
out.
and a half for episode 1?
Episode 1, yeah. If anyone's not
Yeah,
familiar,
that's a big premiere.
they kind of like premiering it like with a super lengthy thing, just as much as they like cutting the openings and endings sometimes.
Dude, that's like 4 episodes.
Yeah, essentially, it feels like 4 episodes, but by the end of like that first like premiere, like Subaru goes through the whole loop of like deaths and whatnot, and it's like, okay, what can I do now? So in second episode, it's him trying to figure it out, and by the end of episode 2, he figures out like a way to progress forward without dying. But like this latest episode 3, it does bring up the stakes a lot, but because essentially a lot of the big bads are all like in this one central water gated city. So it's like, okay, so we have established the fact that Subaru can move forward if he really starts to rely on like people around him that he's earned the trust of. So I can get like, I can like really talk a lot about it, but I'll just keep it really short. Is the fact that, you know, he starts off like relying solely on himself to take care of the problem, and then he realizes he really can't do that. And so he tries to recruit the strongest person to take care of things, and it actually doesn't work out. So now he has to rely on like people immediately close to him to back him up, because he knows he can't take care of it himself anymore. This is like way beyond him now. And now it's like set up.
From what I heard, it looks like he's about to die a lot.
Hold on, Mark, you're cutting off a lot.
Lovely.
But yeah, that's pretty much it right now. So Subaru's making his way forward. There's a bit of damage here and there, but nothing that anyone can like walk off from. So that's kind of where they're at with that one. And I think that's pretty much everything I have as far as animated manga. Is there anything else?
Trying to think. I think that might be it for right now. I can't really think of anything else on the top of my head. Sparking Zero is amazing, by the way. Love it.
Don't worry, we'll get there. I was gonna say like hold your thoughts on video game stuff just for a little bit.
Noted.
But yeah, alrighty. Here, let me do a quick bit of housekeeping for everybody. So, and it's gonna be interesting because it kind of changes into like a little bit in the next topic, or at least it could become like a little sub thing I could talk about. So housekeeping. Let's talk about Tanuki stuff real quick. As you guys know, we have a Tanuki channel over here on YouTube as well, Tanuki Media Official, and right now we're releasing episodes of Mario Party. And as far as I understand, we're getting another episode of like us playing through Mario Party. Not Jamboree per se. We'll talk about that later. But we're kind of going through all the different Mario Party games, and the next one should be coming out on Sundays, so forth. So you guys can check it out there. As well as a video that I have for the Alarmo. That's the little alarm clock that Nintendo decided to release that isn't the Switch 2. Or is it? It isn't. But
Imagine.
I'm hoping to get that out on Monday. So I'm taking a little bit of sacrifices here and there on the weekend just to get that like filmed and edited and like get that out and ready for everybody to see. And I'll let you guys know like later on when I'm like live streaming on like say Monday or something like that. But I wanted to say, as far as just like the quickest like impressions on the Alarmo, it's okay. Like it's not it's not $100 worth like good, but it's good in the sense that like it's loud enough to keep you like to wake you up, right? It uses motion sensors that it's kind of hit or miss, but otherwise like if you have it set up like perfectly, it'll do the job for you as far as like turning itself on and off here and there. My issue is that like the way that I get up from my bed, like it doesn't quite capture that, and so the alarm will just kind of go off, or at least rather it will not actually turn off. I have to actually like visibly walk away from its sights instead of like cross away from it. So it's
Burrow just obliterates it with his fist.
Nah, well, I mean, and I should preface that there is a setting that just do like a simple like tap to turn off alarm, but I did want to test out like just the motion sensing walk away from it, but it definitely doesn't fit everybody's like situation. So there is that. And so far, I haven't found any like weird like wake up sounds or anything like that. I do know of the Great Fairy found one That one's creepy. I'm hoping I don't land on that one at some point. I guess that's a really cool thing too. It's based on like all the different games, but you can actually shuffle them from like within the series or just across all of them. And you should get updates later on, which I feel like they should have added a lot more upon launch, but it's definitely one
Better
of
just
those.
get the most unsettling wake up call.
Yeah, no, because I'm not sure if you're familiar. I know you don't really play Zelda like that, so I can go ahead and like give you context that like there's a Great Fairy, um, and she's always been one to kind of give you like the weirdest sounds for like her like quote unquote speaking, but in this one it's like and you're like maybe not like when you wake up, maybe not this, or rather,
Or at least not when you're not living alone.
bro, definitely not something you would like play like on the big screen while like folks like walk past by.
Because it's not because anything wrong is happening, it's just because of what it sounds like.
It's just what it sounds like, you know. But I had one of the Legend of Zelda tracks open up for a little alarm, and the other one was it was Pikmin 4, which actually seems to work out pretty well, except for I guess one of the sounds, which is like the Pikmin drowning. That's kind of a problematic one. It's like it doesn't sound like it, but if you know, you know. It's fun, but maybe not $100 fun. You know what I mean? Because I think one of my biggest critiques about it is the fact that it has a circular like display. It's not circular. It's actually a squared like cut in like type of screen, so it doesn't use all of it. And it's like, why are we? Why did you make it that size then? I get like the aesthetics, but you should really just use
For why?
yeah, like for why, bro. But yeah, I have it actually set up right now, so I'm not even sure if people can hear it, but like every hour it will like play like some kind of like chime from like the game that I selected. So it's just a nice little audio cue for like, oh, it's like 2 o'clock now. And so forth. So a little nice little thing. Otherwise, it's not really doing anything too crazy. But as far as like the price range, if you actually, I guess, look up prices on Amazon as far as like digital clocks to like fully realize like alarm clocks, then I kind of see why they decided to like market it as $100. That could have been, it could have been 50. That's all I can really say. Or 30. 30 is like, I'll take that immediately. 50 is kind of eh.
It hits 2 it hits 2 p.m. and you just hear the pipes clanging as they fall on the ground sound.
I mean, like if you're smart about it, I think you can actually set up other like alarms that just have that. It doesn't have to be something like this. In fact,
That'd be
if you were able to like link your
hilarious.
like, let's say if you were buying like some like songs like on like the Apple Store, for example, and there's like a couple of like Nintendo tracks there, then I'm pretty sure you could kind of make that into an alarm in some point. So you don't necessarily need the Alarmo for that, but Alarmo is pretty convenient just to kind of get things set up. It's a pretty easy like setup process. I just don't know if it's $100 worth. Actually, I know it's not really $100 worth. But yeah, there's that. And I think as far as other bits of housekeeping, sorry, for Dang It, essentially, we're still keeping up with some Pokemon content, and if we're talking about TikTok as well, we're still trying to do that. It's just kind of a weird like weekend because I'm gonna be super busy, and then tomorrow's also the same way. So, just be in the know, and we'll figure that out. But let's talk about games that we played, Mark. I know you talked about like Sparking Zero to like the greatest extent. Well, not the greatest extent. There's a lot more. What's has that been your main focus? It's just Sparking Zero?
Primarily, yeah. I haven't been doing too much outside of it in terms of other games at the moment.
I see. You were saying you were getting like achievements and whatnot. This is through Steam, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know if there's like a big distinction between like Steam or PlayStation, Xbox, like achievements slash trophies.
Yeah,
As
there's
far,
like Steam achievements. I know that's what they call them on Steam. Is it, they also call them achievements?
mm. Do you know if like they're kind of like the same types of achievements, or is it like an entirely different roster?
I'd have to look. I'm not quite sure if they're considered the same.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to look and see if it's the same list overall, whether it be on Xbox, PlayStation, and Steam included in that, of course.
Gotcha. Because I was just kind of curious about that. But okay.
Right, and I know it's like a total of 50, and I'm at like 41 or 42 out of 50.
Oh yeah. You're pretty much gonna like pretty much complete that entire game at this point.
Oh yeah, I have 100% in many Dragon Ball games.
Would how's Sparking Zero running on your
I
PC?
100% in Dragon Ball for the Kinect.
Oy.
It's actually running pretty well on my PC.
Nice. That's good to hear. Now, if we had that running on Phil's existing PC, like holy, yeah, game's optimized. But
What is Phil's?
well,
What's current? Is that like is it rough or?
kind of cutting off there, but I heard you. But it's kind of like it's a complete built-in PC. Something it's like an HP like tower type of thing. As far as we understand, the Eternals aren't something you could swap out here and there. So I think Anaya and I are kind of looking to like what we can do. As far as retro games,
get is what you get essentially.
Yeah, it's working so far. At least we get recordings out of it for sure. And I think Phil can play a lot of retro games just fine on that one. But new ones, probably not.
Well, yeah, it's because it's a retro game. Retro games, they don't demand much.
Yeah, unless it's like a whole thing where it's like he's trying to emulate something, then it's like that might be up to question. It kind of depends on like how the emulators work and everything like that. Interesting. I wasn't going to use that as a segue or anything, but I do know we have like something I wanted to talk about as far as like an emulator type of thing. Well, we'll get there. We'll get there. What's going? Hold on, checking in with Ibrahim real quick. What is it saying? Watch your guys' mouths when the Capcom Fighting Collection games comes to town. I'm beating both y'all asses. Well, good for me. I'm not playing that game. I am picking it up though. But you guys know me. I'm not a big fighting game person. I enjoy the spectacle of it, but I don't really like get my hands dirty like that. But I still will pick it up. But oh god, speaking of pickups, I'll go through the pickups later on. But yeah, I've been playing through Echoes of Wisdom as much as I can, but that's very little time. Just like off camera stuff. I beat the second dungeon for some context, so I understand that now. Phil's kind of told me this. Sometimes like I'm kind of iffy about spoilers, but in this case, it kind of like strove me to kind of keep playing through the game. There's apparently like a big plot twist that happens somewhere like later on, and I won't really find out until like later. So that's kind of got me like really motivated to try to keep like pushing through. But it's otherwise like really good. I'm not saying that it's not engaging or anything like that. I'm just too busy for these like games these days, but still good. There was another game I played through the East 10 Nordics demo, not entirely because I am really busy, but played it on Switch. It runs all right. I'm not gonna say like it's like the best thing in the world, but it ain't like a crappy time, you know. It's I think it's one of the East games that is kind of built for the Switch, and with the Switch in mind. So it looks like really good as far as like the production value, but it still kind of lacks in the sense that like they don't have like the craziest budget in the world. So they really focus on character models and like the fluid motions there. But as far as environments here and there, it's not the greatest in the world, but it is a really cool like action RPG type of game. So it is just like a free demo that carries over to the full game. So if you guys are interested in that, you can definitely download that through Switch, PlayStation, and Steam even. So a little quick shout outs to that one. That game is coming out like next week alongside a couple other games like Sonic Cross Shadow. It's got a lot to work with for sure. I think there was something else I was playing through. Oh yeah, we played through Mario Party Jamboree. That's another one. Guys,
I heard you guys talking about that before.
Yeah. All right. So obviously we know Phil. He's a big Mario and also a big Mario Party fanatic.
He is the Mario man.
Yeah. He essentially like kicked all of our asses throughout a lot of the Mario Party games. Not all of them, but a fair number of them. And so we're jumping into Mario Party Jamboree, Super Mario Party Jamboree, sorry. And it's essentially new territory, except for maybe any familiar like side games, which there aren't a lot of. So otherwise, it is pretty new. We played through like the recommended, like I guess, 1-star difficulty map, which is something that it's just like in a forest here. The themes that there's like a big like wiggler here that just kind of like moves back and forth here and there and can be a platform, but during certain intervals here and there. And to keep it short, I actually won that. It was crazy, bro. Because I aced the mini games, which I wasn't expecting myself to do. I came up from down under essentially because I was able to like take advantage of like the Jamboree buddy. I had a lot of coins on me. I was able to use Boo to steal like essentially 2 stars and then like, or 1 of the stars, and then like with my Jamboree buddy, double my action for like redeeming a star. So in just like 1 turn, I essentially got 3 stars and won like,
let's go.
I think I won both bonus stars too. So I was like, holy, I'm cooked, bro.
Bro is just balling.
It was insane, but that's probably changed now. Phil's like definitely been working through it. I think last time he checked with us, he unlocked one of the boards. So he's definitely catching up, and will probably give me like a harder time like next time. There's a actually, speaking of which, there's like a pro like setting where I guess they take a lot of like, I guess the BS like bonus like stars here and there. I say BS in the sense that they take a lot of like the nonchalant, here's some like, you know, you participated award type of thing, and they keep it, I think, nailed down to like how well do you do in the mini games. So that's gonna be stressful later on. But I will say, I think
there's actually competitive Mario Party. That's
competitive. Wild. So Super Mario Party Jamboree, I think, is starting to shape up as something that a lot of people could really jump into. We have not tried single like online play, which has like the crazy 20 player, 80, no, it's 20 like player like multiplayer stuff. There's a lot of stuff in there, and I think I've kind of gotten acclimated towards like lean towards just like the minigame stuff, because that it's pretty much just focusing on playing mini games. So there's different modes you can just definitely just jump into, but it's been good so far. So if you guys have never tried out Mario Party before, this is probably the best time to just get started with that one. And also like Superstars as well. I think there's a sale on that one too. But I think that's everything. So on like games playing so far, I'm gonna do a quick bit of pickups, and then we'll jump right into the news. And a lot of it is like Xbox orientated, so stay tuned for that for sure. I'll get this one out of the way since I have it on the very top here. We have Mario Party Jamboree. Now, if you're talking to Phil, he will 100% call out the fact that he does not like that little banner down below there about the Switch Online membership. I believe there's actually another way you can buy this game without this little tag down below here, but I forget exactly where you can get that. I got this guy through GameStop, so they got me this little pre-order like keychain, which is the dice roll thing. So that's actually really sick. I think it's one of the cooler like pre-order gifts I've gotten. I guess also the Sparking Zero poster as well. I should probably say that too.
Ooh.
But here,
Pog.
we got a lot of games that I did not feature last week. I'm gonna just go ahead and like take care of them now. If I recall correctly, a lot of them it's a mixture of like Prime Day pickups, some limited run things that came in, as well as like things from Best Buy and eBay. And in fact, that's one of each here. Here,
eBay.
Yeah, it's crazy, and I can probably like jump into that like reasoning like in just a little bit. We have this game. It's called Euphoria: The Saga 2. It's interesting because essentially Euphoria 1 is a I think it's an NES title. I'm not sure if you can hear the Pikmin, but I just heard that right there.
Oh, I heard it already.
That's funny. But yeah, this is from Sunsoft. Sunsoft has been on my radar since Blaster Master Zero, when I got that like on the Switch, like when the Switch came out. It was on 3DS, but I didn't know about it until like recently, like on Switch. Well, quote unquote recently. But Phil showed me this, like as far as like the eShop art style looks crazy. It's kind of like an epic yarn type of aesthetic. So I was totally locked in on that one. So I just have this, and essentially you can get Herbereki, which is what Euphoria was otherwise called, on the eShop for really cheap. So I just got that one. That's like, what's that distributor? It's like Red Art Games. So that's Amazon. So since like Prime Day was like just recent, I decided to use it on that one. The next game, it's funny because it kind of leads into Xbox later on, but we have Animal Well. This is actually a physical through limited run. So as soon as like limited run like said like, yeah, we're doing it, pretty much Phil and I are pretty much like locked in on that one. So Animal Well is essentially like a Metroidvania without any type of like combat whatsoever. It's a lot of traversal stuff, and it's a lot of like atmospheric like vibes where like you're super helpless early on as you like pretty much find the unknown. It's not like super dark as far as the environments, but it is kind of like really eerie as you kind of like go through them. And sometimes you see like these giant like creatures that may be harmless, most times probably not. So it's a fun one from what reviewers have said. Like some of them really lock in on this game where it's like it can just take you like maybe a few hours to finish, but it can also take you a long time if you're just exploring everything. So there's definitely like a start and end to the game for sure, but a lot of it's just kind of a lot of going through like puzzles and backtracking here and there once you get different abilities, the usual Metroidvania thing. And then these other two here, one of them's a Best Buy deal. It's SpongeBob SquarePants and the Cosmic Shake, and it was one of those games where it's like, you know what, this is pretty much a sequel to Battle for Bikini Bottom, so I should probably get the rehydrated version since I've never really owned it actually. So we have this one from eBay. It's funny because Best Buy actually had like a copy of this one, but I was like, let me just see what eBay's got going on here. And this one was in decent condition, and it was like $11. So I was like, all right, let's do that. Plus the 20 for this one.
That's a steal right there.
I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. So essentially now all of a sudden I just have both games. Not Patrick Star per se. We'll see what happens with that one. That's all the Switch games there. Let me go over to PlayStation side here, because that was kind of the reason why I started to pick up just a lot. These are two from Best Buy as well. These were the other two actually. So it's Sackboy, A Big Adventure right here. Never had Sackboy games before, and so this was like $20. So I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And it was pretty much the exact same thing with Uncharted, but this is the Legacy of Thieves collection. So essentially this is I guess I even say it. It's a Thieves End and the Lost Legacy. So that's one of them is like the fourth like Nathan Drake adventure, and the other one's kind of like an additional like story with some of the side characters, which I heard is really good too. I just remember the scene where like the two girls are literally like giving one of the guys like the work similar to JJK. I was like, damn, dude, just like that
style jumping.
I was like, you know what? I know that Phil definitely influenced me because he was like, dude, you have to get the Uncharted series because Naughty Dog's like a favorite of like his. And so he kind of guided me through like, once you find like a good deal for Uncharted Thieves or Legacy of Thieves collection, definitely go find like the Nathan Drake collection for something cheap on eBay. And so I did. So we have this one. This is the Nathan Drake collection. So that's all three games like from PlayStation 3 ported to PlayStation 4. And yeah, this was actually before it hits the greatest hits like labeling on it. So that's pretty nice. It was like $10. So I was like, okay, yeah, let's just add it to the collection. I'll eventually get to it. And that's it on the PlayStation side of things. This is the last thing. I promise you. Let me go with something from Prime Day as well. We have Assassin's Creed Mirage here. This is the launch edition of it, so it's actually really cool. It has obviously the base game right here. Has a little bit of these art cards here. What were they? Actually say it right here, right? Oh, the lithographs, as well as the Baghdad map as well. So that's actually really sick. So yeah, I've just essentially I've essentially just been like collecting the Assassin's Creed games to later play through them. I have only finished up into Origins, so that means I still got shoot, what was the Roman one?
Odyssey and Valhalla.
Odyssey and Valhalla, and then Mirage. So I'm not too far behind. But yeah, but considering that I'm kind of
you gotta
farther
go to
behind.
Greece, and then you gotta go to you gotta go to Greece and then Viking era.
Mm-hmm. But if I understand correctly, Mirage is kind of like a return to form of Assassin's Creed.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, once we hit to Shadows, it's going to be kind of like a hybrid approach. So I'm looking forward to it. This is
Right.
definitely.
I need to play Mirage already.
Yeah, I took advantage of the Prime Days like deal for
I
sure.
can play Mirage myself.
Yeah, so I've just been like waiting for like a deal for this one for sure, and it definitely paid off when like it showed up on Amazon. And then, of course, the last ones, which were like last week's like big release window ones, and it was Dragon Ball like Sparking Zero and Metaphor Refantasio or Tazio, whichever you want to pronounce that. But super sick. First of all, this art like the box art for this one's like super clean. I think this is the newest like box cover for like Xbox like branded games. So you can see there's not a white tag like right here or anything like that. It's just like right there. So it feels like there's a lot more real estate right there now. So it's super nice.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's about the difference changed here, and you can see that difference like in Metaphor where you actually see like the white label right there too. It's still a really sick box cover. What's interesting about Metaphor is that it actually has 2 discs. One of them's like one was like a download disc only, and then the other one's an actual play disc. So really nice. They're actually considering like putting the games just like on the disc. Considering that, from what I understand, Xbox runs like with the 50 gig like Blu-ray disc, and like PlayStation actually has a one up on them with having like 100 gigs like for each, which is why, God, dude, when you compare it to like, what was it, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, that thing has like 2 discs, and it's because it's 100 plus gigs. But this one's like 70-ish, so the maths, so good. But that's
the math is mathin'.
The math is mathin'. But big W on the fact that Metaphor is kind of like all in the disc. With, I know that you have patches they've been releasing, but aside from that, you can still play it like on disc. So that's super solid. But yeah. Ooh, that's all of them though. That is all of them. And then it'll probably calm down to just 2 next week, which would probably be Sonic Cross Shadow and what was the other one? Oh, East 10 Nordics. But yeah, it's a pretty impressive looking October so far, and that's not even accounting for like the big game releases, because those just kind of take like full stage there. I've been hearing a lot of what people are saying about like Metaphor, especially as far as like probably one of the best RPGs that have come out like this past year, and that's considering the fact that
that's what I've heard. I've heard it's good.
And that's also accounting for the fact that another game that I actually really liked and actually finished, it was Unicorn Overlord. That's another Sega and Atlas like collaboration with Vanillaware, and that's crazy good. It's even good on like Switch. But yeah, dude, it's looking pretty strong so far. But let me check in what Ibrahim was saying here. Yeah, speaking of Zelda, y'all see the Master Sword that Nintendo's selling? Yeah, the replica Master Sword. I did see that. That's $200. Holy, dude.
If it's $200, it better be made of real steel.
Is Nintendo allowed to sell weapons? Dude,
Matt, you'd imagine if it's $200, like that better be. I'd hope it's at least made of real metal.
I hope it has the same weight at the very least. But yeah, that's crazy. I don't have a place for that, so I'll just simply like watch and admire from afar on that one. But yeah, it's crazy over there. So right, we can finally jump into the news bit. Let's start with Xbox partner preview. So I actually have a video right here, just kind of like going through like the different things that they've done. It was a 30-minute presentation of just like, as you could probably guess, the third party groups. So some of them are going to be like multi-platform for sure. And so right now I'm just kind of like playing through it because it's been like a hot minute. I think the first thing that they showed, I think this is Alan Wake's DLC, Alan Wake 2 especially, or rather maybe it isn't.
Getting DLC just now.
Actually, I might need to double check and like maybe play this at like double the speed because I was trying to find like the orientation of like how things are. Oh no, it is definitely Alan Wake 2. Looking really impressive. I am still on the fence because I'm such a baby when it comes to horror games. I'm just like,
Same.
and you know what? Phil can vouch for because we tried to play what was it, Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think that's the full name of the title. Essentially that multiplayer game that pretty much is I forget what the other game is called, but essentially it's just you versus like the family and everything like that. And I kid you not, I got frozen in like space because I could not move myself.
Bro, frozen with fear.
I could not, like, it was really bad. Like everyone made it out of the house. I was the only one who stood by with like this one killer who was right there at the very opening, and I essentially was able to like keep him like at arm's length away from me. But that was the best I can do. Like it was asking so much for me to just kind of sneak around the back too. It was really bad. But aside from that, we do have it's called the Lake House, the Alan Wake 2 expansion. So I don't know what's going on with that one, but it looks super scary. But in the way that looks, it makes it look really, really good. Now let me actually like put this at 2 times the speed. 2 times. There we go. And everything just started moving appropriately. Oh, this one. Okay. Yeah, so this is from Bloober Team. Bloober Team literally just like came off of what was it? Silent Hill 2, which initially I looked at that and I was like, this looks not that great as far as like how it was, but granted it is like an old like PlayStation game. Nah, it turns out Silent Hill 2 remake is like really, really good. So considering the high reviews on that one, people have definitely got this one on radar, especially since it's a new one from Bloober Team. I think it's called Chronos. It's without the H, so it's not a Chrono Trigger like pronunciation. I think it's Chronos.
Is it Chronos or Chronos?
I think it's Chronos, unless otherwise like corrected.
Is it with a K?
It's CR, but it's not CHR. So I think it's Chronos.
Right, but it's like take for example, in Greek mythology, Zeus's father is Kronos, but it's with Kronos.
Is it really? I thought that was K. Sorry. Oh yeah, you said K. Never mind. I thought you said C. Sheesh. But okay, yeah. All right, fair enough. So it could be Kronos, but it's just like I usually am so used to pronouncing it as Chrono Trigger. So it's like, so unless I am, hold on. Now I'm convincing myself I may have like been pronouncing it wrong then.
He said, "Why are you gaslighting me?"
I mean, yeah, there's 2 different spellings. So Chrono Trigger is the CHR, and this is like, I'm gonna just say Chronos, like CRO. But I know that Chronos is also KR as well. I don't know, it's weird. All I need to know is that this is a third person like survival like horror game with a very interesting like intro to it. I don't know what exactly it means. They kind of open up with like possibly in-game like engine or just like, you know, its own like branded CGI. But essentially it's this guy that you're going to play as, and he's like playing chess with this like seemingly like innocent like old lady. And then like he wins and he like reaches seemingly like, I mean, he I guess regardless of the outcome, he will just like push that like chessboard away and then reach out to her like with these grippy crazy like arms that like extend out. It's super eerie. Yeah. I'm not sure what that means. But what's interesting is I actually showed some gameplay like at the end. So it really looks like the now the tried and true like Resident Evil third person like perspective. But it's this guy just kind of like going through like a very like thick mist, not Silent Hill like at all. They probably had got some influence because they are still working on that. But it's called Chronos: The New Dawn, and that's coming in 2025. Right now they're just saying like Xbox and PC, but that could also be because it's on Xbox's channel first. So I mean, considering it's Bloober Team, I wouldn't say it's out of the realm possibility that they would try to go completely. Well, it is third party, so there is that. So more than likely, we'll see it later on other places. So the next game that we have here, they open it up as like as a first person shooter. I don't remember the name from the top of it, but essentially it's to show like a really dark room with a seemingly realistic like point and shoot like action, almost like it's VR or anything like that. Could also be the presentation. But then we get a lot of like lighting effects here and there. Walls having like a very like interesting like paint pattern to them, and it turns out to be an early access of a game called Blind Fire, and that's when it took me away.
I think I've seen something on Blind Fire. It definitely looks interesting.
It looks interesting, but it could be one of those umpteenth like I don't even know what to describe the genre. But I think it's another like take on like a team based like shooter, and that's not really.
I think it's a team based.
Yeah, it's not really my cup of tea, but it could be someone else's. So it is Blind Fire. It's coming on Xbox and PC. Early access available today or at the time of the release there. So now we're gonna move on to the next thing. I think this is Pirate Yakuza. Crazy how they like able to turn it around. All of a sudden it is a big name now, and I forget the name of our main dude in the patch, but essentially he's a pirate now. He's stuck in Hawaii and he's just gonna take a lot of his core like physical memory stuff, and he's going to just destroy people as a pirate instead. It does kind of give me like Assassin's Creed, like when it became pirate, like ship simulator vibes.
Oh, you mean like Assassin's Creed 4?
Essentially, yeah. I don't know, it's looking pretty good. Like, obviously, like it looks really sharp. They've really like improved on visuals like over the course of the games, and the combat's also just as fun and goofy as I've seen it before. So, yeah. So they just had a presentation of that, like, well, not presentation per se, but just like a sequence with that, like a dragon pirate Yakuza in Hawaii. It's a mouthful of a title, but that's coming out February 21st versus the 28th. So very nice. I think that's also multi-platform, so you aren't all not missing out on that. And then the next game here, I remember this one. It's that Mickey Mouse like, but it was a first-person shooter. I forget exactly.
That absolutely has Phil's aesthetic.
Oh yeah, I think everyone's been like caught charmed by that one, considering the fact that I think it was around the time that and I think it came out prior, but the fact is it was like the whole copyright thing for Rivers of Time or whatever it was actually called. No, it was definitely something else called. God, I don't remember what it was called. But I'll tell you the name of the actual game since it like popped up in front of me. Mouse Pie for Hire, come in 2025. You know what? Something about it kind of gives me like a BioShock vibe too. Not the aesthetics per se, but just kind of like the gameplay. Otherwise, that is pretty cool. Nice that they're going forward like with that title. I've seen that like around for what feels like months now. Oh, and then the next thing that was showcased was Subnautica 2. I was never expecting a sequel for this game. I thought Subnautica, aside from like that like additional like title, was it. I thought it was a one and done.
Yeah, Below Zero.
Below Zero. I thought that was just gonna be like the definitive version for Subnautica, but I mean the fact that they're having like a second game, that's crazy. A lot of people's phobias just like kicked in when they saw that. And I apologize for everybody.
That's the thing, is because I thought that was. I honestly thought that Below Zero was just the sequel, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I thought too. But no, they're going for the full game. That's crazy. I'm happy for them though, because Subnautica came out like a long time ago. So the fact that they just had enough to like fund like a sequel. Okay, all right. I definitely knew that was something that a lot of people really liked. At some point, I think there was someone who requested us to do a Let's Play for Subnautica as well. That never really came to fruition, but I can understand why. Now, The next game that shows up, it's super funny because it's literally video game Donkey doing the voiceover for it. He does the voiceover for Animal Well. As a guy, as I've shown you guys as well, it's already like a multi-platform game that came out like earlier this year. The fact that I got the physical like in short amount of time, quote unquote, it was really surprising. But this is pretty much the announcement that Animal Well is also coming to Xbox as well, so people can enjoy it as well. I forget if it's already come out. I think it did, so people can actually play it right now. I'm thinking that Limited Run will also try to do a limited like run release of like the physical for Xbox. Sorry, everybody, as well. So look forward to that. As you see in the gameplay, yeah, it's a lot of like traversal stuff, but there's also a lot of creepy things that happen like in the midst of all that. So just be aware in that Metroidvania. And then the next game we have here is actually Eden Zero. Now, Phil, you were it's not Phil, Mark, you were looking through this. And I was saying that this kind of is quote unquote like a Warriors like if we're just kind of looking purely off of what they're showing right now.
Yeah, I looked in the Xbox store. It said like action RPG.
Oh, okay. All right. Very nice. So I know that right now we have the Fairy Tail game coming out, Fairy Tail 2, and that's actually being done by Gust and Koei Tecmo. This is, as you found out yourself, it's done by Konami. So that's interesting. I don't know how the rights are involved there, but very interesting. I will tell you right now, the visuals kind of look all right. Like, it looks all right.
All right. All right.
It's coming in 2025, but if you like the series so far, and I do like it myself, then stay tuned for that one. Now, what's this next one? I think this is Internal Strands. I don't know anything about this game. This is the first time I'm ever hearing about it, but apparently it's already out. But this is like the Xbox version. I kind of like the concept of the gameplay, though. Yeah, it's kind of like choose your own like path of like growth. You can use like magic, you can use melee stuff, but it's also kind of like fun and quirky. Essentially, the way that they promote is like you can burn everything, you can throw enemies or anything else. Eternal Strands coming early 2025.
You can throw anything. That
was pretty much it, though. Yeah, they didn't really show too much crazy stuff, but I am kind of intrigued by the gameplay of what they showed so far. Now, this next game that they show, it from the looks of it, without seeing a title or anything, it looks like Elden Ring coded. Has all these different crazy enemies and whatnot. Actually, the gameplay itself kinda is Souls-like, but also feels like it's like a third-person like locked like perspective, like as if you're playing Resident Evil or like something like that, or God of War actually, something like that.
That's an interesting concept.
But it looks like this is very similar. You have different like weapons you can use, like swords, maces, axes, bows. You can use magic. Some are kind of locked in on that. I don't remember exactly.
Is it magic?
Yeah, that is magic. But you have like your own little staff you can use for that. I like the designs of some of the enemies here. I just don't know what the name is. I'll find out very soon as the name cuts in. Oh, no. It just shows this girl, like, I guess, essentially reviving you. In fact, like, they confirmed that this is, like, definitely a Souls-like game. It's Miss Fall Hunter. There we go. Thank you. Yeah, they even say, like, as they, like, kind of, like, show a banner in, like, their QR code, Miss Fall Hunter crosses Souls-like in extraction games. That kind of took me out. But otherwise, it looks pretty good.
He said you had me and you lost me.
Like, one foot's out of the water. But, you know, I'm still interested.
He said, as soon as you hear the word extraction, oh.
Oh. We'll see. Oh, and then the next game was actually, I've seen this one before. It involves, like, bike riding, and, like, there's a little skull guy that kind of floats in front of you, like, your bicycle. I think it had a different name to it. But essentially, it's just you bike riding, like, through different, like, areas and environments, racing people. I think it is really just a racing bicycle game, which I'm not opposed of. You can like roam around like this new world, and again participate in like races and whatnot. It's called Wheel World. So whether it had like a new change or anything like that in the name title, That's still like a planned game. That's coming early 2025. So that's pretty solid. We don't know the exact dates, but the fact that it is going to be early 2025, pretty nice. Now this next one literally got like a whole ensemble of like different like awards. So it's a game that came out before. Some of you may have already played it before. That's understandable. This is one of the spoopy games, so it's definitely not for me. But it's Phasmophobia coming to Xbox. That's actually pretty solid. I know that Xbox has always had like an integral like online like interface with people whenever you want to connect with people. Yeah. So works out. This next game, I'm not gonna lie to you. First thing I want to say, it looks pretty rough, but I do like the conceptions of like this game. It involves a boy who gets stranded, gets separated, but he has his dog companion, big doggo, big floopy doggo. But you're going on adventures and you're fighting against like foes and whatnot. I forget exactly the full like premise of the story, but you're just a kid in like this action adventure game as you traverse the world alongside your doggo. But I will say, like, the characters look pretty rough. And the name of the game is called Legends of, what was it, Babu? That's coming to Xbox in 2025. Did I say
Legends of Babu?
Babu. That's funny. I just saw like the titles like sequence, and it just shows like the boy sleeping with the dog, and the dog actually has like the God of War like marking. That's funny. Yeah, it just says to coming 2025. So, all right. And then, oh my God, this was eerie. So the next thing that's shown here, oh, I know this game. It was shown like previously, I believe, but it literally cuts to like a floating like pair of legs. I was like, oh, that's kind of dark. Damn. But we've seen this one before. Essentially, you're playing as like a female like protagonist, roaming around this world. It kind of reminds me of the Souls-like, but not to the furthest, like not all the way. I think it's Wu Chang. Yeah, this is Wu Chang, Fallen Feathers. We've seen this one before, and now we're just kind of getting the update as far as like additional like gameplay stuff. It does have that like vibe of like a Souls-like in sense of like having different like weapons and variety there, but I think it is more like kind of reminds me of Wolong, Fallen Dynasty. I believe I said that name correctly.
You did.
Okay, cool. I still have that copy of that, but yeah, this looks pretty dope. I'm not gonna lie. Let me see if there's any more additional information from here. But yeah, it's just Wu Chang, the Fallen Feathers coming in 2025 as well. Pretty nice. I think that's almost everything. Oh, I'm not sure if this was the last one to like seal the rest of the show, but it's from Remedy, so it's like, oh, hold on, are they cooking with something? Kinda. It's a 3-player co-op experience taking place like I think in the world. Well, I mean it's the Remedy like universe, but it's more over like about control, where you're playing as like a squad of 3, and you're pretty much just kind of cleaning through like different areas that might be a problem for society later on.
Probably.
But I'm not sure how I feel about that one. It is like 3-player. It's a first-person shooter, so it's kind of like, even though it has a Remedy vibe to it, it kind of starts to look like other like third-person games like of a very similar nature too. But it's called Firebreak FBC, coming in 2025. I don't know if this is like the right call. I'm just gonna wait and see what happens. I think Phil like said his piece like online that this wasn't it. But you know what?
This ain't the one though.
I'll keep an open mind about it. But I think that's everything, because right now they're just kind of going through everything. Yeah, that's everything. Yep, that's definitely everything. I think as far as like that presentation, it wasn't bad. There was a fair number of games I was interested in, and things that like were aesthetically pleasing. Wheel World was actually like a very aesthetically pleasing looking game. Subnautica 2 is just like a shock value type of thing. Kind of interested in Internal Strands, but Wu Chang kind of like takes it.
Right.
And then you know what? I'm kind of curious about Eden Zero. I don't know exactly what they want to do with that. Oh, yeah, I
Yeah,
guess
I'm sure
there's
we'll see
also.
some actual gameplay here before long.
Oh, you know what? Animal Well was a really nice announcement, and just seeing more additional footage for Pirate Yakuza was pretty sweet, and also Chronos as well. Yeah, you know what? I take that back. This was actually pretty solid. Now that I think about
Pretty
it,
solid showcase overall.
I'll give it a 7.
Give it a 7.
Pretty nice. What do you think, Mark?
I mean, overall, it seems like it's a solid showcase. It's got a little something for everybody.
That's good. I think I mean Xbox kind of needs all the help helping really get like right now, especially like from first party, but third party just giving it the support, that's also really good too. Like I'll be the one to preach as well that like a lot of games, if you want to support Xbox, like a lot of like game developers and whatnot should like really have their games like over on Xbox, even if it doesn't seem like a promising investment on their side. But that goes like within like a whole talk that is probably outside my pay grade for sure. But yeah, dude, you know what, I've kind of made like my piece. Like if it's something that's on Xbox, that is kind of my preferred console, so I would end up going for that if physicals are there as well. But otherwise, you know, if you guys see like games that you're definitely supporting, definitely see if it's available on like your preferred platform first, and then just go forward with supporting games like that way. But having said that, though, Xbox definitely needed this, and they still need to get that type of support to keep them going. Considering the fact that actually recently they had released the two other consoles that they got, the models. That's the Series X, that's 2 terabytes, and then they actually have like a Series X that's just the same one, but it's all digital. So it's essentially just the big box, just no disk drive.
All right, yeah, so there's the digital-only Series X.
Yeah. So essentially, they're really doubling down on that one. But, you know, considering that PlayStation is going forward with the PS4 like Pro or 5 Pro, sorry. You know, it's kind of interesting to see like how like the market's now split between all three of them now. Nintendo's going to do its own thing. PlayStation's going with like the mid-tier upgrade. Well, I guess Nintendo might be doing the exact same thing, but just with a different name. And then Xbox is kind of like just chilling out for now. So it's interesting. Interesting like way or interesting progress of like where the consoles are now. Really isn't much of like a console war per se. It's just kind of like seeing how they compete in a different way. So
Right, it's not a war, but so much just sort of like who's going to be doing what.
mm-hmm. But yeah, no, it's solid. It's a solid presentation now. Now I'm over here just waiting for like Nintendo to say something. I'm personally waiting for like the big hardware that isn't the Alarmo.
It's like, where's the console?
Nintendo Alarmo 2. That's what you want. No. Alarmo
We just got
OLED.
one.
No.
The Alarmo OLED.
Honestly, if they made that like an OLED display, I can kind of see it trying to bump up like the price points somewhere. That would justify. Well, it wouldn't justify 100, but it gets closer to it. But nah, they ain't gonna do that. But yeah, I'm just waiting over here. At this point, I'm not even like speculating. I just want it. I want them to drop something Nintendo like console related stuff. Because right now, it feels like they're not gonna do anything. Now that we're in the middle of October.
It's certainly about time.
Mm-hmm. I mean, granted, I guess right now the next big game that Nintendo has is Mario and Luigi's Brothership, and that's early November. So it's like, okay, what's gonna happen? And all they have left is like Donkey Kong Country Returns, and that's January. I don't know about December. I think December is pretty open. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see if they want to do anything. They're definitely taking their sweet time. I don't even blame them, because Switch has been like crazy successful. They don't want to overstep that. Oh yeah, and speaking of that, the next bit of news is actually coming from Nintendo Switch Online. Banjo-Tooie actually got announced finally.
Let's go.
According to Phil, he literally screamed. I saw that news. I was like, holy, they finally did that.
There's finally both Banjo games.
Finally both on like a Nintendo platform. Crazy how it finally came back, but appreciated that like Rare / Xbox was willing to be like super buddy about this, and like be able to have like not Mario, have Banjo-Tooie alongside Banjo and Kazooie. So essentially, I now can play both games. I may not like own them, but I can play them. I was actually thinking about picking up Rare Replay for that, but I was like, you know what? This is also a really nice alternative too. Actually, that does kind of stem into another thing I wanted to bring up, and that was actually the fact that speaking of N64 stuff, considering that Banjo and Banjo-Tooie are on like N64. If you don't know, the company Analog, right? Right now they're kind of well known for dropping the Analog Pocket, which is essentially an FG. Oh, sorry. Let me just make sure I'm like pronouncing like acronyms correctly. Yeah, it's FPGA focused emulation, where it's like the hard drive of it and not necessarily the software, because the software is pretty damn like illegal. But to make software that can like, or hardware that can mimic like a console like that, so in this case the Analog Pocket that I actually have essentially mimics a Game Boy and Game Boy Advance, and I think also a I think may not a Genesis, I'm not entirely sure which one it was, but essentially this is Analog's take on the 64 era. So it's called the Analog 3D. Essentially it's to take games that you might already have right now. So in this case, say Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, you can literally plug it into the 3D and it'll play just like an N64. But the thing is that resolution gets like up-res like crazy to a 4K resolution. And I mean, I'll truly believe when I see it, but when you've seen it before, like it's crazy. It's like crazy sharp. It's like, how in the world is it so like crystal clear? It's insane. But here, I actually have like the tweet of this one to kind of like give more details of it. In 4K resolution, perhaps the greatest multiplayer system of all time. That's their words, not mine. Analog 3D is the world's first 100% compatible. World's first 100% compatible with every original N64 game ever made, region free. That's also really good. Bluetooth LE, dual band Wi-Fi, 4 original style controller ports, entirely new generation analog hardware featuring 3D OS, engineered entirely in FPGA, no emulation. And essentially it's something that people can pre-order on the 21st. So not too long from now. This is something that's kind of crazy because I know that Phil would absolutely love this, but I don't need it. So it's like, because that would be a really dope Tanuki video to make. I just don't have,
for sure.
I just don't have like the justifications for it whatsoever. Granted, I can say the same thing about the alarm clock, but that's just $100 at that point. Actually, I don't think you even mentioned it. Analog 3D is actually $250, which is actually, that's not too bad of a price point for like essentially buying like another like N64, but just something that like makes things super clean. But I don't know. I'll talk to Phil about that, see if that's even a possibility. Because honestly, I would be kind of down to like go forward with like a purchase on that one if we're gonna make that into a video. But it's like, at that point, like I'm not gonna use it. So it's like, But it's super cool regardless of that. Oh, you know what? One last thing that I have here in our little bit of news is the fact that Spider-Man 2 is going to be available on Steam and Epic Games Store January 31st, 2025. So yeah, it's just another opportunity for people to play Spider-Man 2, which is, I haven't finished the game, but it is really, really good. I mean, they really just took everything they learned from like 2028's like Spider-Man, or 2029, I forget which one, 2018, I believe. Yeah, no, that's really good. Yeah, no, they really just improved on the Marvel Spider-Man formula, and they make it just like a lot more fun. Now, granted, there is the whole Adidas collaboration situation, but aside from that, it is a really good game. This one, as far as I understand, also doesn't have DLC versus like Spider-Man like remastered, and like yeah, that one had like, I'm trying to remember what the name of the DLC for that one is, but this one doesn't actually have like DLC attached to it. So, would you see what you
I think
get?
I heard the DLC was like. I think I heard the DLC was canceled.
Hmm. Are you sure you're not talking about like the multiplayer one? Because I think that's
That I'm not
separate.
aware of. I just remember seeing a headline. I think today actually saying Spider-Man 2 DLC was canceled.
Oh, so maybe it wasn't like an afterthought. Maybe I actually don't really know if they even had that like conceptualized, because I know about like the multiplayer Insomniac Spider-Man game that they kind of were like playing that out, but that eventually got canceled. I forget exactly for what reasons. They were probably just focusing on like single player experiences at that point, but I don't know anything about like them actually doing like a DLC. Just the fact that they aren't. Interesting though. But I guess that's everything. Wow, we were able to get through everything. It was actually surprisingly a lot of stuff. In fact, there's a couple other things I haven't like mentioned either. Um, I guess this is technically the last little thing. This is for like the NIS America like folks as well. Obviously East 10 Nordics is coming out next week, but this was also this past week as well, that the Legend of Heroes Trails of Daybreak 2 actually has like a release like date, and it is February 14th of 2025. That's pretty close. I mean, I guess for like RPG fans like me, we're eating, because like January is also a Tales game, and February following after is a Legend of Heroes Trails game. So it's like, it's a lot, but that's ultimately good. But yeah, okay. I think that's everything. That's everything.
Bulky.
Now I think about it, yeah, it's been a solid week. I'm kind of curious, like if things are gonna just pick up for the second to last week of October, but otherwise it's been pretty solid. So I think
Right.
next week we'll obviously kind of be talking more about. I'm pretty sure we'll be talking Banjo-Tooie. If I well, actually no, probably not to the greatest extent that Phil would be able to do it, because that's literally his baby shower type of thing. Well, baby shower, like not type of thing, but the baby shower. Speaking of which, yeah, that's gonna be early. You know what? We'll probably want to do an early podcast on that one. I still want to cover like stuff for DangIT Prodcast that week, but I'll also be attending the baby shower. So, yeah, no, expect an early podcast. I'll try to see if I can get like some hands on with like Banjo-Tooie. It'll be the first time I'll ever play it, to be honest. But yeah, no, that's gonna be a like big thing to talk about, as well as Sonic Cross Shadow, as well as East 10 Nordics. We'll try it. But aside from the big time releases, we'll see if there's any like big news that happens, and we'll cover that as well. But all right, Mark, if there's anything else, let me know.
I think we've pretty much covered everything.
Alrighty. In that case, guys, we'll go ahead and call it here. Thank you all so much for tuning in this one for another episode. Dang It Podcast has been episode 523. My name is Justin,
Mark.
and thanks for watching, everybody. Hashtag bye, everybody.